The smell of fresh earth mixed with the scent of wildflowers as we lowered Dad's casket into the ground. I stood there in my best black suit, watching the man who'd built our ranch from nothing disappear forever. Mum had passed 5 years earlier, leaving just me, my older brother Marcus, and the legacy Dad had spent 40 years creating. Our ranch stretched across 12,000 acres of prime Texas grassland, home to 50,000 head of the finest cattle in the state. Dad always said the land would take care of us if we took care of it. He'd started with nothing but determination and a borrowed truck, building an empire through sweat, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in the American dream. Marcus stood beside me, his expensive suit and polished shoes looking out of place against the rural backdrop. He'd moved to Dallas years ago, chasing corporate success while I stayed home to learn the business. Dad never said it outright, but I knew he'd hoped Marcus would return someday to help run things. After the service, neighbors and ranch hands gathered at the house, sharing stories about Dad's generosity and wisdom. Old Tom, our foreman for 23 years, gripped my shoulder with weathered hands. "Your daddy was a good man, son. He'd be proud of how you've learned this business." I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. The weight of responsibility felt crushing. 50,000 cattle, dozens of employees, and a legacy that demanded respect. I'd been Dad's right hand for the past decade, but suddenly being in charge felt overwhelming. Marcus mingled with the crowd, accepting condolences with practiced corporate charm. I wondered what he was thinking, whether he'd finally come home to help me carry on Dad's work. 3 days after the funeral, Marcus called a family meeting. We sat in Dad's study, surrounded by decades of ranch records, awards and photographs, documenting our family's history. The leather chair behind the massive oak desk sat empty. Neither of us had the courage to claim Dad's seat yet. "We need to talk about the future," Marcus began, his tone businesslike and cold. "I've been reviewing the financials and frankly, this operation isn't sustainable." I stared at him in disbelief. "What are you talking about? We're profitable." "Dad built something incredible here." "Profitable, yes, but not optimized. The land alone is worth $30 million. The cattle operation ties up massive capital with relatively modest returns. We could liquidate everything and invest the proceeds in diversified portfolios that would generate better long-term wealth." My stomach dropped. "You want to sell the ranch?" "I want us to be smart about our inheritance. Sentimental attachment won't pay bills or secure our futures." "They've already contacted Brennan Livestock Auctions. They can move the cattle within 2 weeks." "You can't be serious. This is our family's legacy. Dad spent his entire life building this." Marcus leaned forward, his expression patronizing. "Dad was a great man, but he was old school. He didn't understand modern investment strategies or market diversification. We have an opportunity to honor his memory while securing our financial futures. By destroying everything he created, by being responsible stewards of our inheritance, I'm the executor of Dad's estate, and I've made the decision. The cattle auction is scheduled for next Friday." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "You can't do this without consulting me." "Actually, I can. Dad's will gives me full authority over estate decisions for the first year. I'm sorry, but this is happening." I spent the next week in a daze, watching Marcus coordinate with auction houses and livestock buyers. Trucks began arriving to transport our cattle to the auction facility. Each trailer that left felt like another piece of Dad's soul being ripped away. The ranch hands were devastated. Many had worked here for decades, considering themselves part of our family. Now they faced unemployment because my brother saw dollar signs instead of legacy. "I don't understand it," said Miguel, our head wrangler. "Your father always said this place would stay in the family forever." I wanted to fight Marcus's decision, but legally my hands were tied. Dad's will had been clear about the executor's authority. though I couldn't understand why he'd given Marcus such power when I was the one who dedicated my life to the ranch. The auction day arrived with brutal efficiency. 50,000 head of prime cattle, representing generations of careful breeding and Dad's life's work, sold in a matter of hours. The final tally was staggering: $38 million. Marcus stood beside the auctioneer, smiling as bidders drove up prices. I couldn't watch anymore and walked outside, where old Tom was leaning against his truck, tears streaming down his weathered face. 23 years I've worked this land, he said quietly. Watched those cattle grow from calves. Your daddy trusted me to care for them like they were my own children. I'm sorry, Tom. I tried to stop this. He looked at me with sad eyes. Your brother don't understand what he's done. Some things can't be measured in dollars. I nodded, feeling completely defeated. In one day, Marcus had dismantled 40 years of Dad's work. The ranch would continue operating with the remaining livestock, but the heart of our operation was gone forever. 2 weeks after the auction, I was cleaning out Dad's office when old Tom knocked on the door. His expression was strange, a mixture of excitement and nervousness that I'd never seen before. Son, I need to show you something. Been wrestling with whether to speak up, but I can't keep quiet anymore. He held a manila envelope, yellowed with age and sealed with wax. Your daddy gave me this 5 years ago, right after your mama passed. Made me promise to only open it if something happened to him and the ranch was in danger. My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Inside was a contract dated 15 years earlier, written in Dad's careful handwriting. As I read, my heart began racing. Tom, this changes everything. The document outlined a partnership agreement between Dad and Brennan Livestock Auctions, the same company Marcus had used for the cattle sale. But this wasn't a simple business relationship. Dad had secretly owned 40% of Brennan's operation, acquired through a series of strategic investments and cattle trades over the years. Your daddy was smarter than folks gave him credit for, Tom said. He knew the livestock business inside and out. When Brennan was struggling 10 years back, your father bailed them out in exchange for ownership shares. I kept reading, discovering clause after clause that Marcus knew nothing about. Dad hadn't just been a cattle rancher, he'd been a silent partner in one of the state's largest livestock auction houses. Why didn't he tell us about this? Said he wanted to keep it quiet until the right time. Didn't want folks thinking he had unfair advantages at auctions. Your daddy was always about fairness and integrity. The implications hit me like a lightning bolt. Marcus had unknowingly sold our cattle through a company we partially owned. I spent the next 3 days poring over every document in the envelope. Dad's partnership with Brennan Livestock went deeper than I'd initially realized. He owned shares, held seats on their board of directors, and had negotiating rights on major transactions. The contract included a clause that made my blood run cold. Any sale of livestock exceeding 10,000 head required approval from all partners. Marcus's auction had involved 50,000 head, and he'd never sought the required permissions. I called Dad's lawyer, Robert Hendricks, who'd handled our family's legal affairs for 20 years. When I explained what I'd found, there was a long silence on the other end. Your father mentioned this partnership to me once, but I never saw the documentation. If what you're telling me is accurate, your brother may have violated several contractual obligations. What does that mean legally? It means the sale might be voidable. We'd need to review all the paperwork, but if your father's ownership stake is legitimate and the proper procedures weren't followed, we might have grounds to challenge the transaction. My heart pounded with possibility. Could we get the cattle back? Potentially, but we'd need to act quickly. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes to unwind these transactions. Can you bring me everything you have? I gathered all of Dad's documents and drove to Hendrix's office in town. He spent 2 hours reviewing every page, occasionally whistling under his breath or shaking his head in amazement. Your father was incredibly thorough. These contracts are ironclad, and his ownership stake is well documented. Your brother definitely overstepped his authority. So what's our next move? We contact Brennan Livestock immediately and inform them of the partnership violation. Then we explore options for reversing the sale. I decided to confront Marcus before involving lawyers. He was staying at the ranch house, supposedly helping with transition planning, though mostly he seemed focused on real estate evaluations and investment portfolios. I found him in Dad's study, laptop open, surrounded by financial documents. He looked up with mild irritation when I entered. "We need to talk about the cattle sale." "What about it?" "The transaction is complete. We netted $38 million, which is more than I initially projected." I placed Dad's contract on the desk in front of him. "Did you know Dad owned 40% of Brennan Livestock?" Marcus's confident expression faltered as he picked up the document. I watched his face change as he read, color draining from his cheeks. This can't be right. Dad never mentioned any partnership. He kept it quiet for business reasons, but according to this contract, any sale over 10,000 head required approval from all partners. You sold 50,000 head without proper authorization. Marcus set the papers down with shaking hands. "I had no idea. The will gave me executor authority over estate decisions." "Estate decisions, yes. But you can't sell assets through a company we partially own without following their partnership agreements. You violated multiple contractual obligations." "What does this mean?" "It means the sale might be illegal. We might be able to get our cattle back." Marcus slumped in his chair, the weight of his mistake finally sinking in. "I was trying to do what was best for our family's financial future. By destroying Dad's legacy without understanding what you were dismantling. I never intended for this to happen. But it did happen, Marcus. And now we need to figure out how to fix it." Robert Hendricks moved quickly, filing injunctions and partnership violation claims within 48 hours. Brennan Livestock's legal team initially resisted, claiming they'd acted in good faith based on Marcus's executor authority. But Dad's documentation was overwhelming. 20 years of partnership agreements, board meeting minutes, and financial records proved his ownership stake beyond any doubt. More importantly, the contracts clearly outlined approval procedures that had been completely ignored. "Brennan's lawyers want to meet," Hendricks told me over the phone. "They're realizing the magnitude of the procedural violations. Their insurance company is getting nervous about potential liability." The meeting took place in a conference room downtown, with lawyers representing all parties. James Brennan himself attended, a weathered man in his 60s who'd known Dad for decades. "I had no idea about the partnership requirements," Brennan said. "Your brother presented himself as having full authority over the estate. We processed the sale in good faith." "The contracts were clear about approval procedures," Hendricks replied. "Ignorance doesn't excuse the violations." Brennan's lawyer leaned forward. "What exactly are you seeking as resolution?" "Full reversal of the sale. We want our cattle returned to their original locations." "That's impossible. The animals have been dispersed to dozens of buyers across multiple states. Some have already been processed." My heart sank. Even if we won legally, the practical reality might make recovery impossible. "Then we'll seek monetary damages equivalent to current market value, plus partnership profits from the sale," Hendricks countered. The negotiations continued for hours, with lawyers arguing over precedents and contractual interpretations. But the fundamental facts were undeniable. Marcus had violated partnership agreements, and Brennan had failed to verify proper authorization. "We need time to review our options," Brennan's lawyer finally said. While lawyers negotiated, I continued exploring Dad's papers, discovering layers of business relationships I'd never suspected. He'd been far more sophisticated than anyone realized, building a network of partnerships and investments that extended throughout the livestock industry. Old Tom helped me understand the broader picture. Your daddy never wanted folks to know how successful he really was, said it would change how people treated him. He preferred being seen as just a hard-working rancher. But why keep it secret from us? He planned to tell you boys when the time was right. Wanted Marcus to come home first. Wanted you both working together before revealing the full extent of his business empire. I found evidence of Dad's involvement in 3 other livestock companies, 2 feed suppliers, and a transportation business. Our family's wealth was far greater than Marcus had calculated, but it was tied up in operational businesses rather than liquid investments. He was building something for generations, Tom continued. Not just a ranch, but a complete agricultural ecosystem. Everything connected, everything supporting everything else. The more I learned, the more I realized Marcus's auction had damaged far more than just our cattle operation. Dad's business relationships were built on trust and long-term thinking. Sudden liquidation had disrupted carefully balanced partnerships. My phone rang, Hendricks with an update. "Brennan wants to settle. They're offering full restitution plus 20% premium for the disruption, but there's a condition." "What kind of condition?" "They want to formalize the partnership going forward, make you an active board member, and give you oversight of major transactions." I felt a surge of excitement. This wasn't just about recovering from Marcus's mistake. It was about stepping into Dad's true legacy. "What do you think?" "I think your father would be proud." The settlement negotiations took 2 weeks, but the final agreement exceeded my wildest expectations. Brennan Livestock would pay $46 million, the original sale price plus market appreciation and partnership profits. More importantly, I would assume Dad's board position and gain veto power over major transactions. Marcus sat through the signing in stunned silence. His attempt to liquidate our assets had actually uncovered a business empire worth far more than he'd imagined. "I don't understand how Dad built all this without us knowing," he said afterward. "He was protecting it," I replied. "Building something sustainable instead of chasing quick profits. The money would allow us to rebuild our cattle operation, but I had bigger plans. Dad's vision of an integrated agricultural business could finally be realized, with me carrying forward his legacy." Old Tom was ecstatic when I told him the news. "Means we can bring the boys back, rebuild the herds properly." "Better than that, Tom. We're going to expand. Dad left us the foundation for something incredible." I spent the following weeks reaching out to former employees, many of whom had struggled to find comparable work after the auction. Miguel, our head wrangler, cried when I offered him his old job back. "I never thought I'd see this place running cattle again," he said. "We're not just running cattle, Miguel. We're building the future Dad always envisioned." The first new cattle arrived a month later, 500 head of premium breeding stock. Watching them spread across our pastures felt like Dad's spirit returning home. Marcus had returned to Dallas, claiming he needed to focus on his corporate career. But I suspected he was embarrassed by his massive miscalculation. He'd tried to optimize our inheritance and instead had nearly destroyed it. "You did good, son," Tom said, as we watched the cattle settle into their new home. "Your daddy would be real proud." Nowadays, with the settlement money and Dad's hidden partnerships revealed, I began implementing the expansion plan he'd apparently been developing for years. His notes outlined a vertically integrated operation that would control every aspect of cattle production, from breeding to processing. The first step was rebuilding our breeding program. Dad had spent decades developing genetic lines optimized for our climate and grass conditions. The auction had scattered this irreplaceable genetic material across the country, but I was determined to recover what I could. I hired a livestock geneticist to help track down cattle with our bloodlines. Many buyers were willing to sell back breeding stock at premium prices, understanding the value of Dad's genetic program. "Your father was ahead of his time," Dr. Sarah Chen explained as we reviewed breeding records. His selection criteria focused on traits that are just now becoming industry standards. Within 6 months, we'd recovered nearly 2,000 head with our original genetics. The cost was enormous, but the long-term value was incalculable. Next came infrastructure improvements. Dad's plans called for state-of-the-art facilities that would maximize efficiency while maintaining animal welfare standards. We built new barns, upgraded water systems, and installed technology that would have seemed like science fiction just a few years earlier. The ranch hands were amazed by the transformation. "It's like watching the place come alive again," Miguel said. But the most exciting development was the partnership expansion. Using Dad's connections, I negotiated agreements with feed suppliers, transportation companies, and processing facilities. We were creating a network that would give us unprecedented control over our product from birth to market. Old Tom watched it all with satisfaction. "Your daddy dreamed of this day for 20 years. He'd be busting with pride to see it happening." A year after the settlement, our ranch was operating at levels Dad had only dreamed of. We were running 30,000 head across expanded acreage, with breeding programs that attracted buyers from across the country. Marcus surprised me by calling one evening, his voice uncertain and humble. "I've been thinking about what happened, about what I almost destroyed. I want to apologize." "You don't need to apologize, Marcus. You were trying to do what you thought was best." "But I was wrong. I looked at Dad's legacy and saw only numbers on a balance sheet. I didn't understand what he'd really built." There was a long pause before he continued. "I've been miserable in Dallas. The corporate world feels empty after seeing what you've accomplished at the ranch. What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to come home, if you'll have me. I want to learn the business properly this time, to be part of what Dad envisioned." I felt a surge of emotion. Despite everything that had happened, Marcus was still my brother. "There's always a place for you here. I know I have a lot to prove. I'm willing to start at the bottom, to earn my way back into your trust." "Family doesn't start at the bottom, Marcus, but you'll need to understand that this isn't just a business. It's a legacy we're responsible for protecting." "I understand that now. I want to help build something that would make Dad proud." 2 weeks later, Marcus returned to the ranch with a single suitcase and a humbled attitude. He worked alongside the ranch hands, learning operations from the ground up, asking questions instead of giving orders. Old Tom was skeptical at first. "That boy caused a lot of pain around here. People can change, Tom. Dad always believed in second chances." "We'll see. Actions speak louder than words." Marcus threw himself into ranch work with surprising dedication. He spent mornings in the pastures, afternoons in the office learning financial systems, and evenings studying cattle genetics and breeding programs. "I never realized how complex this operation really is," he told me after a particularly long day. "Dad made it look effortless. He had 40 years of experience. You're trying to learn it all in a few months. I have a lot of catching up to do." His transformation was remarkable. The corporate executive who'd seen only profit margins was becoming a rancher who understood the intricate relationships between land, animals, and people. The ranch hands gradually warmed to him as they saw his genuine commitment. Miguel was the first to accept him back into the fold. "Your brother's got good hands with the cattle," he told me, "just needed to remember where he came from." 6 months after his return, I made Marcus a full partner in the operation. We formalized the arrangement with legal documents that protected Dad's vision while giving Marcus meaningful responsibility. "I won't let you down again," he promised during the signing ceremony. "I know you won't. We're stronger together than apart." Our partnership brought new energy to the ranch. Marcus's business background proved valuable as we expanded our partnerships and explored new markets. His corporate connections opened doors that had been closed to traditional ranchers. But more importantly, we were finally working together as Dad had always hoped. The ranch became a true family operation, with both brothers contributing their unique strengths to a shared vision. Old Tom watched our collaboration with satisfaction. "Your daddy's plan is finally coming together. He always said you boys would make a great team once you figured out how to work together." "Took us long enough," I replied. "Good things are worth waiting for." 5 years after the cattle auction that nearly destroyed our family's legacy, the ranch was thriving beyond Dad's wildest dreams. We were running 60,000 head across 20,000 acres, with breeding programs that set industry standards. Our partnership network had grown into a regional powerhouse, controlling significant portions of the livestock supply chain. But we'd maintained Dad's principles of fairness and integrity, earning respect throughout the industry. Marcus had become an expert in agricultural technology, implementing systems that maximized efficiency while maintaining traditional ranching values. His transformation from corporate executive to dedicated rancher was complete. "Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never found Dad's contract," I told old Tom one evening as we watched cattle graze in the golden sunset. "Your daddy would have found another way to set things right. He was always thinking 3 steps ahead." "Do you think he planned for Marcus to make that mistake?" Tom chuckled. "Your daddy was smart, but he wasn't psychic. But he knew his boys would eventually figure out how to work together. He had faith in both of you." Oh, the ranch had become more than a business. It was a testament to the power of perseverance and family bonds. Visitors came from around the world to study our operations and learn from our success. But the most meaningful validation came from our employees. Many had worked here for decades, watching the ranch evolve from Dad's original vision to our expanded reality. "This place feels like home," Miguel said during our annual barbecue. "Your daddy built something special, and you boys have made it even better." Marcus and I stood together, watching our extended family celebrate another successful year. The brother who'd once tried to liquidate our legacy had become its most passionate defender. "Dad would be proud," Marcus said quietly. "He is proud," I replied. "I can feel it every day." Today, as I write this story, our ranch stands as one of the most successful operations in Texas. We've proven that traditional values and modern innovation can work together to create something extraordinary. The cattle auction that seemed like a catastrophe became the catalyst for discovering Dad's true vision. His hidden partnerships and long-term planning had created opportunities we never could have imagined. Marcus and I worked together every day, our different strengths complementing each other perfectly. He handles technology and business development while I focus on operations and animal husbandry. Together, we're building something that will last for generations. Old Tom, now in his 70s, still comes to work every morning, sharing his wisdom with younger ranch hands and keeping Dad's memory alive through countless stories. "Your daddy always said the land would take care of you if you took care of it," he reminds us regularly. You boys have proven him right. We do. We've established a foundation that provides scholarships for young people interested in agricultural careers, ensuring Dad's values will influence future generations. The ranch has become a teaching facility where traditional ranching methods are preserved alongside cutting-edge innovations. The 50,000 cattle that Marcus auctioned off have been replaced by herds that are healthier, more productive, and better adapted to our land. But more importantly, we've learned that true wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in legacy, family, and the positive impact you have on others. Every morning when I walk across the land Dad loved so much, I'm reminded that some things are worth fighting for. Family, tradition, and the dream of building something that will outlast your own lifetime. Thank you for listening to our story. I hope it reminds you that setbacks can become comebacks, and that family bonds are stronger than any temporary disagreement. Please let me know in the comments where you're listening from. I'd love to hear from fellow ranchers and anyone who appreciates the value of hard work and perseverance. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories about family, legacy, and the lessons we learn along the way.